Even in the year 1892, a company was established in Britain to make guns for the British government. That company is none other than Royal Enfield. So how a company which was once established in Britain to make guns for the British government became one of the most iconic and authentic bike brands of India. People, this is a story of passion, hustle, revival and a comeback. How a passionate rider hustled his way over and turned around the fortune of Royal Enfield forever. People, this is one of the most fascinating business case studies you will ever come across. So how a company which was on an arch of shutting down couple of times became one of the biggest bike brands on the planet. So before diving into the story, let me give you a general trivia. If someone who had bought Royal Enfield bike in the year 2000, which was around ₹55,000 at that time, would have invested the same amount in the equity shares of Eicher Motor, which is the parent company of Royal Enfield, would be worth around ₹7 crores right now, or probably more. You can get an idea from this itself. That company must have done some phenomenal work to achieve such massive growth rates. So how it all started? 4 years after the establishment in the year 1896, company made their first ever two-wheeler, and that was a cycle. And after 5 years from it, in the year 1901, company made their first ever motorcycle by attaching an engine to the cycle itself. And that's how Royal Enfield came up with their first ever motorcycle. And then in the year 1931, almost after 49 years of establishment, they are one of the most legendary products the Bullet got invented. Soon bike won several awards, several medals and became one of the integral parts of British soldiers in the World War II. Who knew at that time that Bullet will become the longest running bikes of all time? Soon Bullet will be completing its 90 years. So soon after the independence, Indian government realized the need for patrolling their borders, so they chose Royal Enfield for Indian military. For that, they ordered a total of 800 bikes. And the most remarkable thing is, right now, Royal Enfield sells more than 2,500 bikes in a single day. The company have came a long way. Who knew that time that this was the beginning of an era? But this was not easy as it sounds. With the increasing Indian military officers and police officers, the demand of bikes was also increasing. But government realized that this is not economically viable, neither money-wise nor time-wise, to import bikes from UK directly. So in the year 1955, Royal Enfield partnered with Madras Motors to build their first ever assembling unit in India. Now the parts were still coming from England but were being assembled in India. With the growing demand, even that strategy proved to be unsuccessful. So in the year 1962, complete bike factory was established in India, where head-to-toe complete bikes were being built in India. But then came the saddest year for Royal Enfield, the year 1967, when the UK Royal Enfield was bankrupted and was shut down completely. At that time, even Indian Royal Enfield could have vanished away, but fortunately and courageously enough, they continued their operation and were still making bikes. Now that was the start of a legacy. Over the next few years, company made some loyal customer base. The business was also doing good. But in 1970s, low-cost Japanese bikes entered into the market. These bikes were cheap and had low cc engine, and soon Royal Enfield was facing severe competition from these counterparts. It was a similar reason why Royal Enfield UK got shut down. And in 1980s, company came to a point where it was crippling with losses. There was no money left and huge debt was piled up. Company was struggling to survive. Seems like history was repeating itself. Company was almost on the verge of shutting down. Then came the helping hands of Eicher Motor, who saved Royal Enfield from drowning away. In 1990s, Royal Enfield partnered with Eicher Motors. And in 1994, complete ownership of Royal Enfield was bought by Eicher Motors. But after a couple of years only, the board of Eicher Motors realized that they have made their worst ever mistake. Royal Enfield was bleeding money, there was no sign of growth. Seems like bad days of Royal Enfield were not getting over. बुरे दिन जा ही नहीं रहे थे, अच्छे दिन आ ही नहीं रहे थे, कब आएंगे अच्छे दिन? The company continued making huge losses. Everything which could have gone wrong was going wrong. The board of Eicher Motor even tried selling the whole company, but seems like there was no buyer for Royal Enfield. So as any sensible company, even Eicher Motor decided to shut down Royal Enfield completely. But then came the hero of our story, Siddharth Lal, who was the son of the founder of Eicher Motor, Vikram Lal. When he heard the news that Eicher Motor wants to shut down Royal Enfield completely, he felt disappointed, and therefore he pitched to board of Eicher Motors to give him a chance to revive Royal Enfield completely. But at first, the board of Eicher Motors said no, they does not want to put any more money in the sinking ship. But eventually, Siddharth's passion and his father being a promoter, he got his chance. And seems like this was the best bet Eicher Motor ever placed. I guess they never regretted it, because once Siddharth took the control, there was no looking back. So obviously this was not easy. With the majority of the market share belong to these low-cost Japanese bikes with low CC engines, how could have Royal Enfield stand out in this crowd? So what could have Siddharth done so differently that the other top executives of Eicher Motors or Bajaj Motors were not able to do? So how Siddharth has changed the direction of Royal Enfield from going like this to growing like this? What could have Siddharth done? So the first thing he did was he went to the basics. He put in the shoes as customers and have went to the long rides to find what the real problem is in the bike itself, and soon realized that there are certain issues which need to be addressed and there are certain problems which need to be solved. But you have to keep in mind that Royal Enfield inherited certain rawness, certain authenticness, certain classiness within itself, which it is known for, which cannot be altered. Now, after keeping all these things in mind, he have addressed the issues from the size of the tank to the position of the gear knob and even the engine itself, and transformed the bike and made it better than ever, and is still keeping its charmness, its rawness intact as it always had. Now, once the issues with the bike were being solved, he realized that there are major issues in the supply and distribution chain, and the shop owners were not ready to cooperate. So he took another unconventional decision to open their own shops. Now, if you take a closer look of the vehicle industry, you will realize that this is not a common action. The large vehicle manufacturers does not open their own shops. They rely on the distribution network. Now, once the supply and distribution network was taken care of, he realized that they had no marketing budget. So he decided to take another and more innovative approach to increase the brand awareness in the country. So various bikers clubs are being formed, and these bikers used to travel in group to various parts of the country, which increase the brand awareness among the youth. And this have attracted young customer base for the company. And then in 2007, when board was really impressed with Siddharth's business acumen and the success of Royal Enfield, he was appointed as CEO of the whole group, the Eicher Motor Group. Now, after taking the charge, he took various unconventional and tough decisions. And among them, the one decision which I feel could have been the toughest one is selling 13 out of 15 businesses owned by Eicher Motor. Now, if you think this can be very risky and unconventional decision for any top executive of any company to take, we see this in many objections, but the point of view of Siddharth was that they need to focus their asset on one or two things to make them great rather than trying to be okay in many things. Now, after a series of these changes, the plane of Royal Enfield took off really well. See how time really flies off. A brand new technical center and state-of-art facilities were being built in England. Now, after almost 50 years, Royal Enfield was once again operating in England, but now as an Indian company. Now, Royal Enfield have opened their headquarters in North America to compete head-to-head directly with Harley Davidson in their own market. And now comes the most important part of this video. What entrepreneurs like you and me can learn from this journey. The first point which I think is we need to be adaptive and innovative. This point makes so much sense now with the whole world being connected to a single click. We need to be adaptive with time, and we need to innovate more disruptive technologies to be in the market. Because if we does not adapt with time, think dynamically and innovate more disruptive technologies, the same customers which once used to celebrate us will toss us away in no time. Biggest example of this at world level is Nokia, which once used to be one of the biggest phone brands, have almost vanished away or disappeared now. When the companies like Samsung, Apple and HTCs were making software-driven phones, Nokia was still fixated on these traditional phones. And this rule applies to every business, whether you are a young business or an old business, whether you are a big business or a small business. Every business needs to adapt with time and innovate with time. Otherwise, we will be long gone. People don't buy your product, people buy your story. If you analyze Royal Enfield, you will find that Royal Enfield have associated themselves with freedom, with rugged rawness, with deep-rooted charisma, with larger-than-life persona. And the charm of Indian Army riding it has always played a vital role in their success. When you see Royal Enfield, you know it is not about the bike. It is just not a bike. It is much more than this. It is an experience. It is a way of life. Now, if you take a closer look at marketing campaigns of Apple, you will find a similar trait. From 1985 to 1997, Apple was crippling with losses. The graph of Apple was going downward. Therefore, they went to the last resort. Steve Jobs was reappointed as the CEO of Apple. At that time, he observed one thing. Though we are making best products, we are one of the best companies, but people have forgot what Apple actually is. People have forgot what Apple stands for, what are its core values. Apple is just not a company which makes computer for the people to get their job done. Apple is much bigger than this. Apple at its core is that we believe people with passion can change the world for better. And those people who are crazy enough to think that they can change the world are the ones who actually do. So therefore, to show world what Apple is, he launched a Think Different campaign. And the Think Different campaign became one of the most successful marketing campaigns on the planet. Apple have showcased some of the greatest people on the planet who have changed the world, such as Mahatma Gandhi, Muhammad Ali, etc. Some of them were living, some of them were not. But the idea of the campaign was that these people have never used a computer, but if they ever will, it would be a Mac. So what entrepreneurs like you and me can learn from this is what is our brand identity, what we stand for, what is our core value. So what is your story? Third point which we can learn from Royal Enfield's story is tough time demands tough decisions. Sometimes as an entrepreneur, we have to take some really unconventional and some tough decisions. We have to be very rational at that time. We cannot be irrational in our thinking. The fourth point which I think we can learn from their story is just go and ask. If you won't go and ask, the answer is always no. As we have seen in the story, what Siddharth did is, he went to the board and asked for the chance. And he got the chance. If he would have never went to the board, Royal Enfield would have long gone. We would have never seen Royal Enfield. If you have liked the content, please hit that like button so that YouTube algorithm can know the content was good. Thank you.